Welcome to Mckill TV video podcast. This is episode 2. Told you guys we'd keep doing them if you guys enjoyed them. And you send in suggestions. You've suggested games for me to cover, and so here we are. We're back with another episode of the video podcast. Got a new microphone, so let me know if it sounds pretty good. It sounded pretty good and when I was doing tests and stuff on it, so hopefully it sounds good for the video. First and foremost, man, we'll kind of talk about what has been going on the channel, and we'll kind of knock all that shit out of the way first. Also, just want to kind of tell you what we're gonna do in today's video before we get into the channel and all that shit. So over I think the last time I did a video podcast was maybe a month ago, maybe a little bit more. But we did one, and you guys really came through with suggestion games and stuff like that. And I keep getting comments and people saying cover Resident Evil, and so kind of to scratch that itch for certain people, today I'm going to do something fun with those games. I'm going to rank the main entries of the Resident Evil from my favorite to my least favorite. So that will be like Resident Evil 0 all the way to Resident Evil 8. This won't include like Outbreak or Revelations or anything like that. I probably won't put Code Veronica in there either, but so don't kill me for that. Don't come after me. This is just my opinion, but we're going to get into that. That's kind of going to be what the episode is mostly going to be about. We're going to talk about those. But like I said, before we get into any of that juicy shit, talk about what's been going on, man. Recently, I just want to say thank you. We got over 100 subscribers like a week ago, and then for whatever reason, the channel kind of blew up there for a little bit. Not blew up, but I mean, subscribers really started to pour in, and we're getting close to 200 now. And my next milestone for me personally on the channel is to get to 500, and obviously eventually get to 1,000. But for less than a year, for what we've been doing, it's nice to finally be able to have an audience, and know that I have support and subscribers. And I just all I ever really wanted was people to check out my shit and watch my videos. You know what I mean? That's all I really wanted when I started the channel, was put out decent videos that people would be interested in, watching and shit. So just really wanted to say thanks first and foremost for everybody who has subscribed. And if you're new to the channel, this is a video podcast. This is only the second episode I've ever done. We do like one episode a month. And all I do really is I'll talk briefly about the channel, and then we'll have a topic, and we'll kind of get into that. Today we're doing the Resident Evil games, like I mentioned. But yeah, I just wanted to get a few things out of the way quick. First of all, I wanted to say thank you to you guys for getting us up to 170 subscribers and closing in on 200. That'll be nice, and hopefully hit that next milestone when we get to 500. That would be ideal, and it'd be a huge deal for us, for me. I keep saying us. I'm the only motherfucker that runs this channel, so I keep saying us because when I first started this channel, it was me and my family, me and my wife and our daughter. We did some videos, and I keep referring to this channel as us, and it's pretty much just fucking me. Nobody else does any of this. It's just me. So I'll quit saying us, and I'll just say me or my channel or this channel. I don't know why I say it. And yeah. Also want to get this out of the way too. I recently tried to branch out with my social media so that people can follow me at different places. So we've got a Twitter now. I literally just made it a day ago, so I need some followers. So go find Mckill_TV on Twitter. It's the same handle that I use on Instagram. If you follow me on there, it's literally just search the same shit. I'll be on Twitter, and I'll be promoting my videos there as well. So like when new videos come out, I'll post them there with a link so you can click on them and stuff like that. But first of all, I need to get followers. I have no followers, so we just made it a day ago. I plan on posting on there more. So if you are interested in following and keeping up with updates and news for the channel, if you want to know when shit's coming out, if you want to interact with me, if you want to get like the inside scoop about what we're working on, because I like to kind of like tease videos and show like thumbnails for upcoming videos. I do that a lot on Instagram too, but I don't feel, some people may not see all that shit because I post a lot of it to the story. And you know, Instagram has been like my main way to interact with subscribers and people who are interested in the content that we're doing. It's been my main way of doing that, is to use Instagram, but I really need other ways to branch out and do different things. And I've never been one to really use Twitter. I never really liked the suppression of like free speech that they were kind of a part of, and you know, banning people off of their platform. I just never really cared for the platform, but now that there's a change in ownership over there, I'm willing to check it the fuck out and see what's going on. So go check me out on Twitter. We'll be posting up there. And I'll be posting, like I said, news updates. Just kind of the same shit that we do on Instagram, kind of. It's just a different way to follow me. So go follow me. Twitter, Mckill_TV. It's the same as my Instagram. So if you follow me on there, it's the same. And if you don't follow me on Instagram, it's Mckill_TV as well. So go follow me there. I'll try to follow some of y'all back, just to, that way I can interact with people. You know, that's the point of using social media, right? So, all right, man. Also want to say thanks for suggesting games. I've got a lot of messages like, hey, you should cover this, you should cover that. And if you don't know, if you haven't been keeping up with the channel, the last 2 videos we covered were Suffering and Suffering Ties That Bind. Those games back from 2004, 2005. They were suggested to me like, oh, you should cover the Suffering. And I was like, hell yeah, that's a good game to fucking cover. So it just so happens I had both of those games. I was able to put gameplay pretty quickly, and it was a really fun to just kind of go back and play those old games. And they're shorter videos, so if you guys want to go check those out, I think both of them are around 10 minutes. So yeah, go check those out if you haven't yet. I'll pop them up right here. You can go check them out. It'll probably be down below as well. And a few other things about the channel I want to get off my chest before we get into this Resident Evil countdown list that I'm going to do. I've been trying to make like watching videos on my channel a lot more easier for you guys, instead of like, because I had people say, oh man, it'd be really cool if you put playlists together so we could watch like all your gaming videos if I wanted to watch them back to back, instead of like having to pick through, you know. So I've heard that out, and I've been listening, and every time I complete a series, I'm trying to put like a playlist together. Like both those Suffering games are out now, and if you want to watch them back to back, there's a playlist for it. There's a playlist on my channel now too for all of our gaming videos. You can watch them from the newest one to the oldest one, and then it's like that for the Manhunt games, Nightmare Creatures, all that shit. I'm making like little mini playlists for people who specifically just want to watch certain videos. So if that's something you're interested in, it's on the channel, man. Go check it out. Just go to Mckill TV, and down below you'll see that there's playlists made for you guys specifically, so go check it out. Yeah, and another thing that's really cool about people sending in suggestions is it kind of helps me pick out games to cover. Like sometimes I'll have like 4 or 5 games, like which one do I want to do? I've had several suggested to me that I'm like, yes, I'm gonna do that like probably next. And that's kind of what we've been doing. Like I plan on covering The Darkness and The Darkness 2. Those may be my next 2 videos. There might be one that pops up before then. I don't put any kind of like deadline on content. It gets done when it gets done. But those 2 videos are videos that you can expect coming up, because they're in the works. But there's other shit that might be another video pops out before then. But I think within the next week, 2 or 3 weeks, you'll see The Darkness and The Darkness 2. I don't know that game was pretty popular when it came out. I don't know how it holds up, but looking back, I'm kind of playing through the first one right now, getting like gameplay for it and stuff like that. So hopefully we can put together a decent video and talk about that game. It's pretty interesting. And if you're not familiar with that, then just stay tuned, because we'll go over everything, and we'll get you familiar with it. And what else, dude? I think that might be it for the channel. And if it is, we're gonna get right into these Resident Evils. All right. So with that being said, let's get into the shit. All right, guys. Here we go. Now let me explain my thought process behind this fucking list. First of all, I don't want y'all coming after me. This is an opinion list. This is how I'm gonna like rank them. This is the mainline games, 0 through 8. This is the one I'm gonna talk about. And basically, what I'll do is I'll rank them by my experience and replay value, how much I enjoyed the game, how scary they were, and just things like that. It's my personal experience with these games. You guys have asked me to cover Resident Evil. I may in the future, but I do really enjoy the series, and I really want to talk about it, which is kind of why we're doing this, you know. So don't get all pissed off because Code Veronica's not on here. Neither is Outbreak or Revelations or any of the side games. I do consider Code Veronica to be a side game. Some of you may not. That's fine. But I'm not putting it on here. This is 9 games, basically, and I'm including 0. 0 is a mainline game. So it's going to be on here, too. So basically what I'll do, I'll start from the bottom and work my way up to my favorite. And we'll do it like that. And I'll just briefly kind of talk about the game. Talk about what I liked about them or didn't like about them. And some of them, probably towards the bottom, I won't have as many good things to say. But it's my list, so don't come from my head, dude. Okay. All right. We'll start off with number 9 being at the bottom of my list here. And that is Resident Evil 5. Resident Evil 5 is by far my least favorite Resident Evil game. I've played it maybe 2 or 3 times. Played it around the time it came out. Graphically, looks really good. But it's got a bogus kind of story. You know, it's kind of like you got like a companion the entire time with Shiva, whatever fucking name is. And then Chris Redfield being your main character. And it plays a lot like Resident Evil 4, but it's not as fun as Resident Evil 4. It's actually pretty fucking frustrating. Resident Evil 5 is. Story's kind of weird. It's just not all the way around. It's a difficult game. It's not really a fun game to play. It's probably by far my least favorite. Everybody always remembers Resident Evil 5 for the boulder punch and just being over the top. And overall, for me, it's like that entry that kind of had the series go in the wrong direction. It became more about action and less about horror. And the game takes place mostly in daytime. It's not a whole lot of scary shit in the game. Yeah, you're taking on zombies and you know, in Africa and stuff like that, but just don't remember being very scared by the game. And that's why it's at the bottom. And the replay value to me personally is not very good because I'm not excited. It wasn't really an exciting experience. I wasn't I just don't remember really enjoying that entry specifically. And so that's why it's at the bottom. And then moving up to number 8 on this list, you could probably guess, will be Resident Evil 6. I enjoyed Resident Evil 6 a little bit more than I did 5. I liked that there was different storylines and the replay value is pretty decent. But it's still more action horror than actual survival horror, which is what Resident Evil is, survival horror. You know, that it is that. And these entries, in my opinion, 4, 5, and 6 became so much more about just action-oriented gameplay, which I didn't find myself enjoying as much. And I get a lot of people really enjoyed 4. But then 5 got worse, and then 6 got even worse, and it just became more and more about like over-the-top action. And I just didn't care for 6 and 5. Like, I think 6 is a little bit more interesting. It's got better, it tells a better story, and I like that it differs from character to character. I kind of like that, but still just not the Resident Evil that I grew up loving. You know what I mean? So I always kind of had a grudge towards 4, 5, and 6 because I feel like they really strayed away from what the first 3 games were, and I really enjoyed the first 3 games. And they'll be higher on this list. So, but yeah, Resident Evil 6. I would replay Resident Evil 6. I haven't in years, but I would replay it. Probably more. I'd be more eager to replay that more than I would 5. It has its moments, but Leon, and you can play through different characters. So I don't know. It was okay. It just over the top action and all that. So it comes in at number 8 on this list. Moving on up to number 7 is the most recent Resident Evil, and that's Resident Evil 8. It's pretty low on my list, and I'll say this. Resident Evil 8 is like Resident Evil 4 to me. It's like they took a lot of the same ideas and concepts from that game and just put them in a different, kind of made it like a Resident Evil 7 and 4 mixed into one game. That's what I think. I like it. I haven't replayed it since it came out. I played it right when it first came out. I enjoyed it. It has some really good moments in it. I really like the part when that baby is in that hallway, a big ass baby head, and it kind of follows you. That's the scariest part in the whole game. But to me, it's just still a lot of action and less scary horror. What does it for me though is it pretty much plays exactly like Resident Evil 7, which I loved. I really loved Resident Evil 7. I thought it was a fun experience. I thought it was scary. Even though it kind of fizzled out at the end with the story and everything. I really liked everything else about that game besides the way it ended, Resident Evil 7. But 8 is one of the bright spots for 8 for me is just the way it plays. It is a fun game. It plays well. Mechanically, I like all that. It's pretty much it's exactly like Resident Evil 7 in that regard. But as far as like the story and the setting, that's where it kind of sets back for me. Is it's like the setting of Resident Evil 4 or something like that. And with the gameplay of 7, which it's interesting enough. I will replay this game at some point in the future, but I haven't been eager to do that. But it is kind of lower on my list because I don't know. I just felt a little disappointed when I had first played this game. I don't know why. I don't know what I was expecting. I think after 7, I was expecting them to kind of go back in that direction of like being scary again. Like 7 was. 7 was scary. It had a lot of scary moments that the 3 games before it didn't have, and I really enjoyed it. And I guess my hopes were high for 8 because I was hoping to get more of that, and I was a little disappointed. And I get a lot of people love that game. I'm not trying to shit on it. I'm just saying from me personally and what I was expecting. That's why it's lower on my list. But yeah, number 7 is Resident Evil 8. Moving on up to number 6 on my list will be a fan favorite, Resident Evil 4. I think a lot of people love this game. I'm interested to see the remake. I hear that they're working on a remake. I'm interested to see what that will end up being. I really didn't feel like this was one that needed a remake, but I'm interested to see where it goes because I really enjoyed Resident Evil 2 remake and 3. So seeing what they might be able to potentially do with this one would be interesting. And I get it's a fan favorite. People like this game. It's a really popular Resident Evil game. It's a little bit lower on my list because, like I had mentioned earlier, to me, it's like the entry in the series that kind of started to stray it away from being survival horror and being more about action, as it was more like over Leon's shoulder, third-person view. I felt it was more arcadey gameplay style with the quick time events and stuff like that really weren't a part of the first 3 games. And for me, it was a turnoff. It's not that I don't enjoy the game. I've replayed this one. I do like it more than the other 3 that I just mentioned. But just in the back of my mind, it's the game that kind of went away from what Resident Evil was and what made Resident Evil scary. And this one became more about action, and it's a fun game, but I'm talking about like when I play these games, there's a certain way you want to feel when you play them, and I don't want to feel like an invincible badass when I play Resident Evil. I want to feel like it's a struggle to get through. It's got to be hard, you know. It's part of like the puzzle and the survival of the game, survival horror, you know. Now, don't get me wrong, Resident Evil 4 has its difficult moments, but it's just kind of like it kind of started that thing where like you're trapped in an area, zombies are pursuing you, and you got to take them all out, and you know what I mean. And that was never really a thing. Like, all right, you're trapped off in this area, and zombies are coming at you nonstop until you pretty much take them all out, or until something happens. You know, that kind of like arcadey, like just shoot them up until you know they're gone. That's not a gameplay mechanic I really enjoyed. In Resident Evil, I don't know. You know, 4 and 5 do that a lot. You know, put you in these scenarios where you gotta basically just kill everything until you can figure out what you're supposed to do to get out of the area. You know, there's a lot of situations like that. I just don't care for that. And like I said, it's not that I don't enjoy the game overall. It is replayable. It is good. I do see why people like it, I guess. I can just go off of, like I said, this list is my opinion and going off of my experiences playing the games. And this is another reason why I've been hesitant to cover Resident Evil, is because my opinions are so much different than what I think a lot of the hardcore fans think. I guess because I played the first 3 games on PlayStation 1 and remember them being scary as hell, and then just over the years, like, they just got less and less of that, and I kind of hold a grudge towards the newer games because of that. And except for 7, I hold 7 in high regards because it goes back to survival horror. Even though it has a shitty ending to the game up until that moment is pretty fucking good. They kind of fizzled out. But yeah, Resident Evil 4 ends up at number 6 on this list. And I'm not trying to get anything by skin. I just wanted to quickly make this list and talk about where I see the games lining up. For me, in my experience, it is what it is, guys. Don't fucking execute me down there in the comments or come at me or anything like that. This is just I'm just ranking the games, bro. Coming in at number 5 is Resident Evil 3 or Resident Evil Nemesis. I'm not gonna specifically talk about what port. I guess I'll kind of really talk more about the remake because that's the one I recently played. But yeah, it's the PS1 version or the remake, doesn't matter. It would still be ranked where it is right here on this list. I think it's a great game. I wished in the remake they hadn't taken so much out of the game and made it shorter. I mean, it's a short game, especially after you play through it and you know where everything is and all the secrets of the game. You can really get through that game pretty quick. That's the most disappointing thing about the remake. I really enjoyed the remake of Resident Evil 3, but it was just too short. I wish they had kind of stayed true to what the original RE3 was and didn't really try to cut corners and take stuff out. You know, they wanted full price for that game like it was a full entry, and it just felt like half of a game or less. But it doesn't mean it was bad. I really enjoyed it. Ultimately, overall, I really enjoyed Resident Evil 3, even back on the PlayStation 1. I just wish we had gotten that length of the game in this remake version. Because I feel like, you know, it could have been just as good as RE2. And it shows that, but it just was way shorter, and it's not, the replay value of it is not as high because you played through it 2 times. You pretty much got it, you know what I mean? But it's a good game, and that's why it's number 5 on this list. And that's Resident Evil 3, Resident Evil Nemesis, the remake. Moving on up, guys, number 4 on this list. I consider it to be a main entry, and that's Resident Evil 0. I put it on this list because I really enjoyed the remake of this one and the original one. I feel like Zero's an underrated game. It's a little bit harder than I remembered it being, going back and playing it, and I just remember really enjoying it. I think I enjoyed this one a lot because it is classic survival horror and it is hard. and it's almost like having more of the original game because it plays a lot like that. It has like the companion kind of take on it, where you have to switch back and forth between characters to navigate certain like puzzles and like areas of that story in the game. And I really like that. I remember really liking this game, especially when they remade the original Resident Evil and this one. They put them both together. That was I don't know. That to me is Resident Evil. You know what I mean? So I had it ranked a lot higher. I've had more fun with that game than I have the ones that I've previously talked about. And I feel like with Resident Evil fans, y'all either agree with me on that or you hard disagree, which I've seen a little bit of both. People like this one or they don't at all. I don't know why you wouldn't. I think it's good, and that's why I got it number 4 on this list. I think it's a fun game. So yeah, I put it at number 4. Moving on up to number 3 on this Resident Evil list, ranking these games, is Resident Evil 7. Talked about it earlier. It's my favorite newer Resident Evil game. I think it's the scariest game since Resident Evil 3 original back on PS1. I think this is the scariest the series has gotten since then. I think it's better than 8. I think it's better than 6, 5, and 4. You may not agree. That's fine. I don't care. It's my list. I think Resident Evil 7 is a really good game. I've replayed this game a lot more than the other games we've talked about on this list. I remember playing through Resident Evil 7. I've played through it at least five times or more. And still will in the future because I haven't played it in a while. And every time you go back to it, it's a good experience. So yeah, it's my favorite like newer Resident Evil, and I hope that when 9 or eventually 10 come out, I hope they kind of go back to just being scary, dude. Be scary. It's a horror game. It's a horror series. Be scary. I don't want action horror. We got enough of that. There's a lot of fucking series out there that are action oriented and have horror themes. We don't need that. Like, I don't want to see that for Resident Evil. I wouldn't want to see that for Silent Hill or any of the classic survival horror games. Be scary. And 7 was scary, and that's why I got it so high. And the gameplay is good. It feels like an old Resident Evil game, survival horror, but it has that first person perspective, which I think is a good twist and a good. I was as skeptical about that when the game first came out as anybody, but they really executed it, and it felt good. It felt like a Resident Evil game. I didn't know if it would. It wasn't super action oriented. It was kind of towards the end. Like I said, it doesn't have the best ending to the story. The story starts out up here and kind of dwindles out. That's my main critique of the game. I wish that they could have found a way to keep the horror throughout, but the last 45 minutes of the game kind of is probably my least favorite of it. But still, overall, it's a solid piece, solid entry. So that's why I have it at 3. We're getting up here in the top 2, and these are the big heavyweights in my opinion. At number 2, I'll do the original Resident Evil, and I'm specifically talking about the remade version. Just I don't know. There's not a whole lot to say. It's just it's a masterpiece. It's a great game. With Jill and Chris and Spencer Mansion and going through all that, and that remake is one of the best remakes of all time, because they really stayed true to what the game was, and it just brought it to life and put it in more modern, give it a modern look. And that game is still replayable today. Like, I haven't played it in a couple years, but popped it in right now, I'd be hooked. And just thinking back to where my first introduction to Resident Evil games was the original PS1 Resident Evil game. And I always remember that story. I remember the mansion story and Jill and Chris and all that. And just all those years later, when they remade the game, I finally got to play it again. It's even though it looked and felt differently, it just seemed like the same story. And that was the coolest thing to me about it, is that it seems like that's the way I remembered it, Yeah, just a great game. Resident Evil, the original one, hits number 2 on this list. Number one on this list is one of the best games of all time. Not just Resident Evil, but one of the best survival horror games of all time. And it doesn't matter which version you're talking about, the old PS1 version or the remade version. We're talking about Resident Evil 2. I'll talk about the remake because that's specifically the one that is the newer one, I guess. And it's fucking amazing. It's a great game. Played that game probably more than any of the other ones. It was just done so good. What a remake, man. Resident Evil 2 remake is not only the best Resident Evil game, in my opinion. You may disagree, you may agree, whatever. That's fine. But it's one of the best horror games of all time. And yeah, it's scary. It has its moments, but it's just also the gameplay, the atmosphere, the level design of the police station, and just they really fucking knocked it out of the park. I still love Resident Evil 2 remake, and I've played it, like I said, a bunch of times through. I couldn't even count. I'd say about 10, maybe more. It has good replay value with being able to play Leon or Claire's part, just going back and being able to replay both of those scenarios, and just, you know, the Mr. X was done fucking fantastic. I wish that's kind of how they would have done Nemesis in Part 3 remake, but the Nemesis game had like these more scripted moments where Nemesis would attack you, you know, instead of it being more random like Mr. X was. That was fantastic. They made that game so intense with Mr. X stalking you through the police station. One of the best fucking games of all time. Not just Resident Evil, but just in general. It's a good horror game. It's done right. And yeah, just gotta give props to them, man. That was a fucking hell of a... If you're gonna remake a game, make it even better than the original, you know? And that's it, dude. That's all the mainline Resident Evil games. I ranked them in my... This is my rankings. This is not how everybody sees them. I know that. I'm not saying this is how you should rank the games. This is my personal opinion. I get asked about these games all the time, which is why I kind of wanted to briefly rank them, talk about them. I don't have anything pulled up on the games right now, so I wasn't really reading. I was just kind of reminiscing about my experience with these different titles as I played through them, you know? And so, you know, just trying to remember, how was this game? How was that one? How was this one when I first played through it? How many times have I played it again since then? And that's kind of how I wanted to go about this, and just kind of be raw about it. I didn't really want to script anything out or type anything out too much about them. I just kind of wanted to go off of like my initial reaction, how I felt about them. So that's why these weren't super in-depth, you know. I didn't like review the game or talk about story or any of that shit. I just kind of gave off my opinion of how I thought the games were when I played them, and ranked them off of that. And Resident Evil is a great series, and I get that it's very popular, and a lot of people want to see more videos on YouTube about it, I guess. But I don't know about you guys, but I see a lot of Resident Evil stuff on YouTube. That's why I haven't covered any of them, because I don't know what else I could say about it. You know what I mean? I don't know what more could be said about Resident Evil. I've seen every damn video that there is to see on them. So great series, though. Quit asking me about them. I might cover one at one point, but I don't know, dude. Maybe. Stop asking about them. That's why I did this. Hopefully this will scratch that itch. You'll get my opinion. Maybe this will make you realize why I don't talk about them more, because my opinion is so different than everybody else's that, you know, I don't think it'd be accepted very well. I don't expect this list to be accepted very well, to be honest with you. People probably will be pissed because I put 8 really far down and 4 is not really that high up, and they'd probably be pissed because I didn't put Code Veronica in there. They're probably going to get mad because I put 0 in there and not Code Veronica. Hey, man, this is my list. Chill out. Alright, guys, that's pretty much it for today. Just want to do something different. I wanted to put out a new episode of this because it seemed like a good way to let you guys know what's going on, and a good way to let you know where you can find me at on social media. Once again, Twitter and Instagram, it's the same, Mckill_TV on Instagram, on Twitter. That's a good way to follow, keep up with updates. for the channel. Like I said, I'll post videos on there when they first come out. I'll post teasers and stuff like that on there, and I'll interact with people. But in order to do that, I gotta get a following, and I just made that Twitter. So if you're interested in keeping up with this channel, go follow me on Twitter. I need some followers. I just made that thing like yesterday, so I do plan on posting on there, especially when content starts rolling out again. I want to thank you guys for sticking with me, supporting my channel, and I'm just thankful for people who watch the videos, subscribe to the channels, like the videos. If you do that, you're supporting my channel. You know what I mean? I don't need money from anybody. I don't need any of that. All I really want from subscribers is to enjoy the content and hit the like button. You know what I mean? Just be here, enjoy them. If you have something to say, comment below, message me, whatever. Find me on social media, and we can go back and forth. You can DM me. I'm open to like game suggestions, games you guys want to see covered on the channel in the future. I usually put out 2 videos a month, but in April we got hot there for a second and had extra time to work on more games than I normally do. So I was able to put out like 3 or 4 videos. I put out Hatred. We put out Murdered Soul Suspect. That's a game that a lot of people don't like, but I felt the need to cover it because I just felt like a lot of people hadn't really talked about that game, and I'm kind of split on it as well. But we did a video on it, and then of course I had a fan suggestion of doing The Suffering and The Suffering 2, so we also covered those 2. So that all those are new to the channel. If you haven't been keeping up with us, go back and watch those videos. Hit the like button, check them out, support us by doing that. Keep saying us, support me by doing that. What else? Yeah, just expect more retro videos to come out of gaming. Like I said, don't know. I can't sit here right now and tell you exactly what's coming out next, but hopefully in the next 2 or 3 weeks we'll roll out another two videos or so. And then as far as this video podcast is concerned, we'll continue to do this once a month. Give you guys time to like suggest stuff, send me in shit, and also give me time to get some other videos out and time to decide what I want to do with these more often. This is still kind of a new thing, the video podcast. I didn't really know exactly what I want to do with it, and as far as I'm concerned, we'll keep doing them as long as people are interested. This is more for the subscribers anyways. These videos don't really bring me in a lot of subs or anything like that, but it's a good way to kind of just do something different and, you know, just kind of let you guys get to know me a little bit better, and let you know where to follow me, where to find me, how to interact, and that's kind of what we've been using them for. So yeah, I think this has been 20-30 minute long video, something like that. Yeah, man, I just want to say thankful for everybody who watches my videos and hits the like button and subscribes to my channel. If you do that, you're supporting my channel, and I'm really appreciative for everybody who does that. And that being said, guys, this one is in the books. This has been Mckill TV Video Podcast, Episode 2. Guys, don't get pissed off at me if you didn't like my ranking of the Resident Evil series. I just wanted to do something different. Like I said, I get asked about these games all the time. I haven't done a video on them. I think because I've done Silent Hill in the past, people expected that I would maybe eventually do these games, and I've never ruled that out or said no. That's just there's just so many videos about Resident Evil that I haven't been super eager to cover one. And that's pretty much the main reason I haven't, is because I just don't know what else I could possibly say that hasn't been said about these games. But it doesn't mean in the future that I won't pop one out. But to kind of scratch that itch, that's why we did something different today. And yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, hit that like button. Support these video podcasts, because I'm still figuring out what the fuck we want to do in these. And yeah, just let me know that you guys are watching, man. Hit that like button and follow me on social media, like I said before. And I'll catch you guys in a future video.